Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to share K-pop groups that I believe debuted at the wrong time. And yeah, let's get into it. The Mnet survival show Produce 101 introduced us to Jellyfish Entertainment's first female trainees, Nayoung, Sejong, and Mina. Sejong and Mina eventually debuted as members of IOI, who would go on to promote for less than a year. During this time, there were no restrictions placed on the members, meaning they were allowed to continue activities under their respective companies while IOI was on break or promoting subunits. During August of 2016, 7 IOI members would form the first and only subunit, while the other members were pulled out to participate as members in their company's girl groups. I could go into detail about the poor decisions made by Jellyfish when it comes to Gugudan's career, but more than that, I think the poor timing of their debut really led to their downfall. Jellyfish was eager to capitalize off the success of Mina and Sejong in IOI, which led to a rushed debut. With Gugudan being a 9-member group, there needed to be a longer introduction process for fans to get to know the non-produced members. There was no pre-debut activities or videos for fans to watch. Rather, they simply relied on Sejong and Mina's popularity to carry the group and immediately started releasing debut content. Like if you go on their page, the first row is basically the debut. If you look at what Pledis of all companies did with Preston, they created Pledis Girls, which existed for an entire year before debut. In the meantime, the pre-debut project allowed them to hold concerts and release a lot of content, which allowed fans to get to know all of them rather than just sandwiching in a bunch of nobodies between the popular IOI girls. I've seen a lot of people say that the amount of members in the group was also part of the downfall, but this was kind of the thing to do at the time, and you can see that just within the IOI groups. Daya, Preston, Weki, Meki, Gugudan, they all had a bunch of members because that was the thing at the time. It's just you need to take the time to introduce these members, which they didn't get to do because they debuted at the wrong time. Had Jellyfish not been incompetent and followed in Pledis' footsteps by planning and executing a great pre-debut project while allowing Mina and Sejong to wrap up their activities with IOI, Gugudan wouldn't have been met with such terrible fate. 3 years after the end of Produce, Choewon, Nayoung, and Yoojung would finally make their debut in Cube's girl group Lightsum. Choewon was a pretty popular trainee, so people had been waiting for her debut long before it was revealed that she had been rigged out of the final lineup. Lightsum came out the gate swinging, immediately outselling groups like Rocket Punch, Cherry Bullet, and, well, CLC. But this hype eventually died down over time, especially since they went a year without activities. I'm sure that Lightsum's debut was always in the works and planned months in advance, but had Soojin not found herself in a bullying scandal causing a group hiatus, I don't think Lightsum would have debuted that year. It certainly has the funk of Scandal control on it because Soojin's hiatus began in March, Lightsum was announced the next month in April, and then they finally debuted in June. I don't think anyone really expected things to be the same for Idol, who showed no signs of stopping before the scandal hit, but once they returned to their position on top, Cube immediately threw Lightsum to the curb. Like, they did all of this just for them to be active for less than a year, go on to reorganize the member lineup, and then go on a hiatus. Like, that makes no sense to me. I think Cube shouldn't have debuted them during that Idol Soojin hiatus. They should have properly planned out their activities for at least 2 years to continue building off the hype, because why did we have that little era where we were stealing from IZ*ONE? Like, Vanilla was pretty popular among K-pop stans from what I remember, so why we immediately went into IZ*ONE and then from there to ITZY, I don't know. And then also, Cube cannot successfully manage 2 girl groups at a time. I don't know what it is, misogyny maybe, I don't know. They're gonna choose the more successful one to continue putting their efforts and time into, and we see this time and time again. Hot Issue debuted debuted in the middle of 2021 and not one soul cared except me. Not even the girls who listen to anything and have Nugu promoters notifications on gave a damn about Hot Issue, because for some reason everyone wanted to pretend that they hated girl boss feminism, girl crush in K-pop, as if they weren't living for it 3 years prior to their debut and then for years after. Like, oh, okay, suddenly you're tired of corny badass concepts, chanting repetitive lyrics, words like gratata and so on, yet your layout has Everglow and Itzy till this day? Like, you ain't changed it since they debuted? Don't piss me off. Do not piss me off. Now, I actually understand why Hot Issue wasn't successful. You hear that? I get why they weren't that successful, but I don't understand why they disbanded. The turn of the decade saw cuter and brighter concepts make a return to K-pop. It was no longer the popular, cool thing to do, girl crush. Of course, you had already established that before this era in K-pop. And you know, sure, gratata isn't that special, I guess. I mean, to me, it's kind of everything. Like, gratata, I'm gonna shoot. That's my shit. But for the rest of you fakers, I get that it's not your taste, sure. And sure, you know, their music was hit or miss. And sure, their album sales were terrible, but that never stopped Secret Number and Vivi. So what's the problem? Why did they have to disband? Like, why couldn't they just be unsuccessful Nugus? I think if Hot Issue debuted sometime between late 2018 and early 2020 during the peak of girl crush concepts, maybe not peak because it did get really saturated, but whatever, they definitely would have seen more success. Obviously not on the levels of an ITZY or Idol and whoever else, but they definitely would have been outdoing Cherry Bullet, Rocket Punch, and Secret Number. I think a song like Icons especially would have been big among K-pop stans during that time, which is again why I'm so puzzled why less than a year later it just didn't work out or click for them. This one is unserious, but I'm telling you, had a group like this waited just a little while longer for the K-pop and Nugu market to grow, they would have been a top girl group. I'm so serious. Like, it would have been so over for Stacy and NewJeans. They were literally NewJeans before NewJeans was even born. Like, don't play with me. Luna was just too ahead of their time that the girls didn't quite get it. The good music, the talent, the debut system, the visuals, the entire project. Like, no wonder y'all couldn't take. They were that good, that much of a threat. Outside of their company's incompetence and poor fandom reputation, I do think the timing of their debut and pre-debut activities probably held them back from achieving even more than they actually did. Unpopular opinion, I don't know. They were a bit late to the cute concept trend. They gave us elegant concepts when nobody was begging for them, and then they jumped on the girl crush trend when, again, the people decided they were going to pretend to be tired of it. Right decisions were made at the worst of times, which would make it a bad decision, but I think if Luna began promoting sometime around the pandemic, every single K-pop stan would have been seated, mainly because y'all were bored and eating up anything. We were on lockdown, like, but also for a number of other reasons. Like, it may have made things like traveling to different countries for each girl and unit debut a bit more difficult, but the way these countries were acting, it might have just been possible. Like, but yeah, for starters, the K-pop global market expanded significantly compared to what it was in 2016 when the Luna debut project began. They would have had a larger audience witness their rollout, and maybe, just maybe, Heejin wouldn't have had the lowest selling K-pop album by a girl group. Like, rather than going on flop ass Mix 9, maybe the members would have been on Girls Planet or something. Still a flop show that didn't crack the top 40, but anything is a step up from Mix 9. I think the music, because again, that's when the cutesy and brighter concepts started making a comeback. So Luna 1/3 would have been good. They would have found their Christian horse girl K-pop girls. Odd Eye Circle would have been good. And then Love Forever would have been great, especially featuring Grimes. Like, but yeah. ignoring the company being shady, ignoring the scams, ignoring all of that. Like, listen, I think Z Girls was just a little bit too ahead of their time. Like, I don't think K-pop stans were truly ready for a K-pop group that's not a K-pop group, but promote like K-pop groups, but don't sing in Korean. The community simply wasn't ready for a group of foreigners, especially since they weren't the lightest and brightest you could get. Like, I don't know, if you would have told me that today we would live in a world that allows Black Swan and XG to flourish in their respective lanes while Z Girls was getting paid dust like they were nothing, I wouldn't believe you. I think that's crazy. Had they waited for the pandemic where Instagram infographic activism was at its peak, they would have been outdoing Secret Number at the very, very, very least. Like, I'm so serious. Anyway, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.